Write it down. So I started writing before I even knew I was a writer. Around 8 years old, holding a little diary, a gift from a childhood friend at a time when life, felt too heavy for someone that small. And back then, they didn't call it journaling, and they didn't call it healing. They didn't call it survival. All I knew is that when the world got loud, my pages listened. So the diary that I actually kept is with my mom at her house. I actually cannot flip open a page to share with you. But just the level of elementary that journaling goes back to, even in the classroom. We give children, at times, I remember my teachers gave us journals. So even when replacing a journal was slightly expensive during those times, I would revert back to the written journaling that I did in class and reflect back on moments that my notebook had. And if I didn't have an empty space for my notebook to log down, whatever I had on my mind, I would write it on a piece of paper, and then just kind of, tear the paper up after it came to fruition and move on about my business. Because sometimes writing isn't meant to last. It's to release its point. It's, the page is only a witness you're willing to trust. So then I take you to my pregnancy journal. I know, but it was a beautiful gift from a good friend. It looks nothing like me, but it was a beautiful gift from a great friend. Years had went by and I had stopped journaling. And, my new journey came. And so it was my first pregnancy. But it wasn't actually my first pregnancy. It was the first pregnancy that I was able to deliver the baby. And, so a place to hold the joy and fear was really becoming, because, you're getting ready to deliver and all this, and your anxiety is just really all over the place. And so I started journaling. So my son should have actually been born. His due date was actually February 3rd. So the next year, on February 3rd, I was capturing, how I felt. Only to realize I was pregnant with my daughter. So even last night, I received a beautiful journal. And it's very timely. It's timely for everyone, given the circumstances that we are all experiencing out here in this dreadful, dreadful, dreadful world. So it's a beautiful budget journal. And it just maps out my point that journaling is a practice that is stitched into my story. See, for me, when I write it down, it becomes real. Thoughts stop floating, feelings stop hiding, truth stops whispering, and writing is where I meet myself without pretending, where I lay everything down so I don't have to carry it all. So both the Quran and the Bible tell us to record and to write the vision, to keep record of what God has done and what we survived. So writing is obedience. Writing is your testimony. Writing is saying, I was here. Journaling has walked me through trauma, through motherhood, through transformation, through every version of myself. And it's a quiet revolution, a soft place to land. And every time I open a new journal, I am reminded I'm still becoming, still healing, still writing, still waiting for my next chapter to come to fruition and unfold, and still living here on earth with a purpose.